Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot, and we may have a little bit of drag time in terms of the video. I see my video is quite fuzzy here. So that is because we've got so many people here with us, and I'm hoping the bandwidth will handle it. So welcome, everyone. It's been a crazy time, and I just want to say it's really great to have you all here. So let's go around the sort of ring here. And we've got Sean Stone below me, then Laura Eisenhower. Then we've got Dr. Sharnael W. Sehon. And then we've got Amelia Love and David Rodriguez. So that's our illustrious panel. And we're just going to be talking about current events and probably wrap in some stuff about secrecy and hopefully some spiritual healing by just conducting this video here. So my main YouTube channel is allowing me in after 2 weeks of being locked out. So it was a rocky start today, but it's great to have everyone here. So if we do have any echo issues, I do encourage you to mute yourself when others are talking, but don't forget to unmute yourself if you want to talk. So what I'd like to do is just go around the ring here and see if everyone can just give themselves a short introduction, assuming I know a lot of us, maybe everyone is very well known here, but some people have, different sets of audiences and so on. So how about you, Sean Stone? Why don't you be the first to introduce yourself and just say a couple of comments about what you think about what's going on.
Oh, okay. Hi, Kerry. So yes, I'm Sean Stone. I'm an author of the books New World Order and Desiderata by Ali. Filmmaker, I've done many documentaries like Hollywood, DC, A Century of War, Metahuman with Deepak Chopra, Greystone Park, The Fury of the Fist, and most people might know me from Buzzsaw, which I interviewed Kerry a few times on Buzzsaw, and also the RT program, Watching the Hawks. So.
Okay, thank you for that. And Laura Eisenhower, go. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Yep, unmute. Great to be here with all of you. My name's Laura Eisenhower, and I am a global alchemist. And what does that mean? Just part of this great shift that we're moving out of the lead of this human experience, and we're going to turn it into gold. Somehow we're going to get there, slowly but surely. I'm a researcher. I'm an international speaker, a medical intuitive astrologer. Can you hear me okay?
I think we can hear you fine. Is there a problem? Anyone having a problem here?
I just heard Sean kind of jump in. And yeah, I'm the great-granddaughter of President Dwight David Eisenhower. And I know I was born into this family so that I could reveal exopolitical information about his administration that has been largely held in secrecy. I focus on subjects like exopolitics, alchemy, galactic history, metaphysics. And I'm just really here to help free us from the 3D holographic time loop, to help free us from the archonic systems, the false archonic systems, and the 3D holographic time loop, I said, and expose hidden agendas so we can basically take our power back.
Yay. Cool. Okay. And Dr. Sehon?
Yes, my name is Dr. Sharnael. I'm a naturopathic doctor, but I'm an author too. I'm a speaker. I've traveled in 44 countries, teaching all over, mostly on consciousness, health, integration of all this stuff, how to create and move and making healthy choices, not only in the mind, but in the heart and your thoughts and creating. I'm a patriot. I'm a foster mom of dogs and cats. I have had 92 kittens in the last 3 years, and I have 5 dogs right now and 5 kids. Let's not forget that. And a great, amazing husband that I met when I was 17, and he's the love of my life. And I'm here on the planet right now because I was involved in a lot of my lab type things. I grew up military, and I'm just coming through my own healing through some of that, and meeting some fabulous people like you guys, and just collaborating and working to wake up whoever's ready to be woke and ready to shift the world into our highest service, love, truth. Truth is my highest call, is just remembering truth and helping igniting every single person possible to truth. Thanks for having me too. Bye.
Okay, lovely. And Amelia Love.
Hi guys. So I'm known as like a spiritual coach, also known as a contemporary spiritual master, heavy on the contemporary. I was a rapper in the music industry a few years ago, so it's quite a leap. These days, I specifically work with women over 35 to heal, and I help them to basically put their shadow, their ego to sleep and free themselves so that they can actually live a life of happiness and inner peace and direct connection to God and, intuition and that sort of thing. So that's what I specialize in. But my journey started in 2004. I had really bad illnesses that needed lots of surgery, things like that. So I basically sat in bed and read 1,000 books on everything from herbs to all sorts of things, all sorts of healing things, whirling dervishes, energy healing, all sorts. And then in 2009, I had an experience that made me realize that there was something within my mind that wasn't for my own good, that there was something working against me and it was within me. And so I then set out on almost like a monk's journey, where it was like, I will find out what this thing is, where it came from, and how the hell to get rid of it. Took 2 years. After 2 years, I'd actually isolated it and put it to sleep. And now I help women, mainly women. I do have a couple of male clients, but I specialize in women. And I have ladies all over the world that I do that with. With where we are in the world right now, I feel like people being able to anchor their energy in and be aware of their thoughts and not allow their thoughts to run them, and not allow their fears to run them. I feel like that's really important, and we need to vibrate our way out of this. Basically, we need to the only way out is up, and the way up is through us doing our own self-healing. So I'm here to spread truth as well, and that was really inspiring just to hear then from the doctor. I just feel like love and truth is what we're all about, and it's just beautiful to be here. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Let's see, and we have David Rodriguez.
Hello, everybody. I guess I was a former athlete, heavyweight champion boxer, number 5 in the world, and I made a lot of headway in that arena. And now I'm kind of exited that, and I'm in a new arena, in a new fight. I wrote the book When the Lights Go Out. It's getting really, really good reviews on Amazon. And I just I felt a calling in my soul to do what I'm doing now, and taking the fight from the boxing ring into here and into this new spiritual / political / biblical times era that we're living in. I just felt like it's my calling, it's my purpose, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, short and sweet. All right, very good. And nice to meet you, David. I think I saw your video a long time ago, and I'm really glad to be in touch with you.
Thank you.
Let's see. What I'd like to do is, because people didn't really touch on this, what I'd like to go around again. And I'm Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot. And I think if you're watching this, you know who I am. So I'm not going to go into any big thing here. But I would like to make the next question for everyone to be what you think about what's going on, about the sting operation that we believe is happening behind the scenes, and what the potential for success is there, as well as you can say whatever you like about the future as you see it. Okay, so Sean. you're first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any particular insight into the sting operation, so-called. My feeling is more that what's playing out, I look at things, I guess, more on the spiritual level at this point in terms of the energies playing out. We know that we've been in this Pluto's return cycle since about 2016, 17, when Trump came into office. And so it's all emblematic with the external reality. We're seeing this level of polarization since Trump came to office, probably greater polarization than we've seen in our lifetime, to the place where people have demonized him as, the worst president. Ironically, considering what we've lived through in our own lives, and those of us are talking today understand what the deep state is, the New World Order is, and we basically understand how manipulated our political system has been. So the fact that this is playing out now as a polarization of America, but also the world, is very important. And it's not going to end regardless of how the balloting turns out. What's going to play out, I believe, is continuing the destruction of these systems, the revelation of the overall New World Order agenda, the overall collapse of that agenda. Who knows how far it will go in the process and how scary it will get. But overall, this is, I feel, a necessary awakening process that we are continuing to go through. So it's not ending. No matter what happens with Trump, the ballots, how messy it gets in the coming months, people have to get past that and stop focusing on only that external and keep the idea on what is actually happening, playing out, is the civil war, energetically, spiritually, that is part of the awakening.
Okay, thank you. And Laura Eisenhower, you're next.
Yeah, I definitely feel that the sting operation is authentic and it's underway. There are so many hidden layers that we can't really see. There have been plans put in place a long time ago that weren't able to be fully exposed at the time that they were implemented. And this relates to white hats and positive military forces. So they've always been able to kind of handle anything that gets thrown at them. And they're able to kind of put the chess pieces in the right places, or, kind of outsmart them or be 2 steps ahead. And, because this isn't something that's new. And they're just well aware that, these are the different tactics that the deep state is going to use in order to, gain full control. I mean, it's something that has been, written, and it's an agenda, and there's many different cards that they play. And so for every card that they know or can sense that they're going to play, they have another sort of way to, counteract it. And one of the ways to win a war is to really understand the enemy. You have to understand it to such a degree that you can, outsmart it, or, become the override energy, or become senior to those lower forces. But the thing that they don't have that we do have is the spirit realms, the galactic, the benevolent nature of just like humanity and love and the earth and the planetary consciousness. And that power is so much huger than all the things that are trying to put it in reversals, trying to, gain power through trickery, deception, abuse, and all these different, hidden projects and all these hidden operations that are really geared towards messing with our minds and, psychological operations, just to kind of hook us in so that we literally get consumed by it. So in the larger picture sense of it, that never can win in the end, but they're, obviously trying to delay the inevitable and trying to make us miserable in the process. And they'll do everything they possibly can to, push us into a corner so that, the next thing is we start to get even more enslaved through some of the weaponry, the next level of weaponry and AI and vaccinations and all these different kinds of things to put us in the most compromised, position. And so the Mockingbird part of media and social media is their way to kind of push us into that corner. So we have to be willing to step into other alternative platforms and let those things expand and grow, knowing that you can't shut this down. And every time they try, we're going to pop up somewhere else. And this is going to keep building and building and building. And this is the times that we're in. This is why it's called an ascension window period. So I do feel that everything is going to come out where justice will be served, and people will not be able to deny the fact that this criminal activity has been going on and this has been a fraud. But even if that doesn't happen, there's nothing that can stop the light energy, the planetary consciousness guiding us towards human advancement and the awakening of human consciousness that is uniting together in the collective and the unified field that will absolutely do what it needs to do. And however the storyline plays out, doesn't matter. It's gonna always claim victory. And the alchemy of it is that it'll allow the dark players to either join in and transform and heal and rise above, or there's going to be a major kind of separation, possibly like into like a phantom earth kind of thing, which, you know, Keylontic Science and others have talked about. But I definitely think it's authentic.
Okay, very good. So Dr. Sharnael. Okay, I think you're muted. So are you there?
Hey,
Great.
I love what both of you guys said, and I will agree with that 100%. You said it very eloquently. I'm just going to piggyback on this and say karma doesn't take a day off and never sleeps. I've been talking with David about this too, and Laura, and I think you too, Carrie, and they're going to be so freaking sorry that they ever messed with any of us, from the deplatforming to the censoring to the freaking Facebook jails and all the BS. Ballots, the PDF file, I'm not, you know, I'm trying to do code, but all the stuff that's going on underground, they are going to wish to God, they're going to beg for mercy for what's coming to them. And everything is coming out. People are waking up. There is nowhere to run. And I'm just excited, you know, to be a witness in this time. We are here on purpose right now, in the middle of all of this. We are called to be in this season. All of you and everyone who's watching, you're here for a reason, and we get to participate. It's not about just sitting back and watching the show. I hear that a lot. I hear like, get the popcorn, watch the show. Yes, to an extent, but there's also a responsibility there. Responsible. We are responsible in so many ways by keeping our vibration up, by getting out in nature, by drinking good water, eating good food, you know, getting grounded, using supplements, oils, green juice, whatever, do the things, magnesium baths. Get to a place where we turn off that stupid television. Whose vision is it? Get the TV off, plug into the nature and the things that are high level source, highest potential things. Think on those things, feel on those things, focus on those things, because we're all having this opportunity, not just to participate on a collective, but if as a doctor, I do a lot of consultations, one-on-one, and do classes and what have you. What I'm seeing across the board is why these big things are happening. There's also these mini versions that all these people on personal levels are having the opportunities to step up and to be bold and courageous and to stand and to get back up again and do all the things that they're supposed to, they're really maybe haven't done before. And they're seeing themselves, they're getting this time in quarantine or whatever to really look inside. And I like what Amelia was saying about going higher. You know, she said, the only way is up, go in. The only way is inside, that to go up, we have to go on the inside. Everything's an inside job. And so what I'm seeing across the board is all these people are now doing things that they haven't done before. They're waking up, they're seeing, and they're excited. And there, yes, there's a little bit of fear. And then also it's like, we can't get baited, like Laura said. Don't get baited into that frequency, and don't get lulled into the programming, but to stay above it. And it takes a conscious effort to participate on that. But as we conquer and as we override and as we come up higher, like Amelia was saying, we are actually adding to the collective of the entire earth to raise the frequency and to give all of those who are really doing the high stuff to give them a push and a reinforcement of Trump team and all these other guys who are doing stuff, not just for us, but for the entire planet and beyond. And so yeah, I am not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I have not had like crazy days where I'm just like crying to David or Laura or Kerry and going, oh my God. But thank God for this collective group and those outside. There's been so many that we have found each other. We have found each other. And it doesn't matter if they shut us down. Like Laura said, too bad. You cannot stop truth. You cannot stop love. It's never going to stop. We win already. We're already won. So if we can participate in the already won, and I heard Magenta say that with Laura earlier today, if we can celebrate already that we freaking won, you guys, they cannot win. it will catch up. It is over. And if we can just celebrate that and walk that out and keep on doing what we know to do, whether it's taking care of ourselves inner, and our own homes and our own choices, and then also posting truth, being a digital warrior, sharing whenever you can, don't pry open anything and like blast people with sun, but red pill whoever you can, open wide, here's your pill. Haha, you're going to get it one way or the other, right? So do your due diligence, study, really look into things. And what I would say more than anything is don't be afraid to look beyond what your belief system is right now. Because if you have the courage to look outside what you've been living in this whole time, you may actually expand and grow and learn something else. Don't be afraid of diversity. Don't be afraid of what other people are talking about. Don't be afraid of other people's languages just because it's not exactly like you. This is a time for us to come as one in unity and freaking blow this thing apart until we're a ball of love and we just rip this place up. That's me.
Okay, thank you. Great enthusiasm. All right, so Amelia, please go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I love that. I love the energy there. That was great. So I've been getting a lot of downloads the last few days, and some of the information has been that things like the sting operation, when I heard about it, I wasn't surprised because I'd already heard a message. I call them my angels, but my angels had said to me that basically nothing that's going on with the Democrats is anything that's a surprise to Trump. Everything, it's like they were already a couple of steps ahead. And so it hadn't connected in my head yet that meant that it was a trap for them, but I just knew that there was nothing that was surprising him. And so I feel that everything that's going on at the moment is part of waves. I see it like literally like rows and rows of like angels, literally like earth angels, rows and rows. And we're at the front. This is the front line. This is what the front line looks like, and we're here to help people anchor their energy and do the inner work. And then just behind us, there's another layer and another layer, another layer. Now the last layer, what they need to see it on a television with lines going across, just like, they can only pay attention to something if there's things moving across the screen. And so what's going on now is the wake up for them. And what I find with spiritual awakenings is it normally comes through pain. Your whispered guidance, but the guidance, if you don't listen, eventually it's like, well, hey, it looks like pain's going to be the only answer. And so there is going to be like a lot of shock and a lot of pain for those that refuse to open their eyes. But I feel like the front line have been preparing a lot of shock absorbers that are now amongst humanity that are able to, when this stuff happens, they're like, oh no, it's okay. Yeah, I knew about that. And they're like able to breathe. And it means the whole room gets set on a different frequency because that one person's in the room that's unshakable, that's unshockable. And so I feel like that's how this is all happening in like just different waves. And then the other thing I put a few notes down here was just that, yeah, this is how we put the media to bed, basically, by them having enough rope to hang themselves. So they literally, we need to allow them to unravel by themselves by just, there being one piece of information on one government website and then another thing on a television news channel. And again, you don't have to be a genius anymore to see that that's wrong. You had to be a genius to wake up when 10, 20 years ago or longer still. That was quite something, and you really were the only person that knew what you knew. But the other thing was just to refer as well to what Sharnael said, and that was just that alone time. People need to spend that alone time because that inner work, only you can do it. So you can't, there's no way you can pay somebody to say, okay, I want to do this work, but it's just like buying a guide to take you through the desert. You still have to go with them. Do you know what I mean? They're not going for you. And so basically, this is the time for people to do that inner work, because when you change your inner landscape, everything changes. The decisions you make, the way that you eat, who you want to be friends with, who you want to be in romantic relationships with, just everything, and your intuition gets so sharp that to do things like, like what we're doing here today, so I just think that it's really important that people take this time now to take the time on their own and also to just be very watchful of who's around them, because it's also a time to remove toxicity from your life so that you can take care of you. And I think that a lot of people don't feel like they have permission to do that, but to remove those that are of a much lower vibration so that you can come up where you need to, that's not selfish, it's sensible. So that's kind of one of the main things that I would say.
Okay, thank you very much. And David Rodriguez.
Yes. Okay. So I think that those are all very impressive responses. I have just a way of looking at this. If you really psychoanalyze Trump, right? This guy is a megalomaniac. He's a super competitor, and he's an avid student of the art of Sun Tzu, the art of war. So I have much respect for this man as of having a general type mindset, and I think he has a probably extremely high IQ, despite what people say. I think this is a guy that beat Hillary Clinton in 2016 against all odds. This is a guy that survived 2 impeachments, which, everyone thought that he was going to go down on those. Then he beats the pandemic in his own way. He's a master chess player. And for me to think that he's going to go with him, knowing that they were going to fraudulently, they were going to commit fraud in this election, for him to know that months ahead of time, if you look at his tweets, he knew this was coming. You don't think he prepared for this? He absolutely did. So to me, I have every reason to believe that the watermarks are real. I don't think he would go into this election unprepared. This guy is a super competitor. And, like for me, when I go into a fight, I go in 100% prepared. I don't just go into an election. If he got word, he knew they were going to cheat. He knew. So with that mindset and looking at him as a person, I have every reason to believe the watermarks is real. I believe that he prepared for this, and I think, I imagine mass arrests are going to happen, and it's going to shock the world. He even said I think about 4 months ago, in a tweet, that the voter fraud will be scandalous or something like that, and that the whole world will watch or something. Go look back on his tweets. He refers to this many times. Look, this guy is and I'm giving a kind of a sports analogy here, being a fighter, being how I was getting in the ring all the time. I trained for months before a fight. This guy's been training for years for this one, and he knew this was going to happen. So to me, no one goes into an election like this knowing someone's going to cheat blindly, especially someone like Trump. Trump is a megalomaniac. He's a super competitor, and I would put a stamp on it that he's ready for this, and he's going to surgically dissect this, and these people are going to be arrested. That's what I think.
Thank you. Okay, so that's great, everyone. Just my 2 cents that I'll put in here as well. So from my point of view, I do think that Trump, I believe he deserves to win, for one thing. I believe he has worked incredibly hard, and I think no one can deny that. And when you see him on stage in the last few months, all the energy that he brings to what he's doing, and the team behind him, because I always want to remember that he has a team behind him, and they are military, and they got him into power, and they're keeping him there because they're being attacked. And I even, put this tweet out about the snipers at the White House, that they were actually literally out there, and the details, because I had a whistleblower on that, and they gave me a strike and deleted the video on YouTube. But I think I put it on another channel. But at any rate, this is the kind of thing going on. But I have to say, yes. And I can also say, because I'm in touch with certain behind the scenes sources, that he's had a lot more sort of close calls, death threats, incidents where, and so on behind the scenes. So we're talking about someone who from the beginning has been literally, they've tried to impeach him since the day he took office. Incredible stuff. And then what we're looking at here has to be, first of all, he warned us over and over again for the past year that they were going to steal the election. So sure enough, here we come, and this is what's happening. Now, I do have sort of a theory about that because I had a whistleblower the first time he got elected that talked about a team of hackers that had gone in and stolen back the election from Hillary. Now, this time, I think they went about it a different way, so that it's not so techy, if you will. Okay, so what they did was they tried to steal it in the low tech way with the mail-in ballots and certain other things that have been actually discovered, like the felt marker or something in Arizona. I mean, I guess everyone's listening to all the different ways they're trying to basically hack and interfere with the election, with the counting process and so on, not allowing observers either. Like that, what's that about? So there's a lot going on there. I think we're at a very interesting juncture. I have to say I get precog moments where I get a download and I get sent stuff, but this was one time when I really couldn't, it's almost like couldn't see what was happening and was waiting and waiting to get even the tiniest. Usually I'll get something, but so far, no dice. And so I have to say that I have been getting precogs about other stuff. And so I know that my, whatever you want to call that precog download thing is working, but it seems like this is still forming itself. And there's a lot of shields around it. And I think that, it's important to realize that, Trump is not naive. His team is not naive in the least bit. And I believe JFK Jr. is part of that team. And I think that, I have certain information behind the scenes that validates that, including my own in sort of intuitive stuff. And so what I want to say about that is that these guys have been out there rescuing children from underground bases, doing the arrests and indictments behind the scenes, moving and, movers and shakers in our entire world. They definitely have tried to communicate with us through QAnon, which I think was actually a wonderful thing, and so on. So there's so many things at work, so many moving parts to this situation. And I also want to say we're dealing with dark magicians. We're dealing with ETs, dark ETs as well, that are helping the dark side. We're talking about Chinese Communist Party, AI. I'm sure the AI is playing a role here that we may not even be aware of. And that means also alien AI. And everyone knows I talk about this kind of thing all the time. But I just want to say to people when they say, oh, like, why doesn't he just come out and do this or that? But they've got a tactical plan. And I was so happy to see Steve, I don't know how you say his last name, but Piziak, something like that, come forward and talk about that this was known, this was planned, this is a sting operation. And all along what they do is they want people to actually go out and, you're right, have enough rope to hang themselves. So Biden has enough rope. They've got the goods on him since even January of this year, but they didn't bring it out. They waited strategically to bring it out right before the election. And even then, a lot of people completely didn't even pay any attention whatsoever. And of course, the Hunter Biden and the whole thing with Ukraine and the Chinese communists, this is really crucial. I mean, what's happening in our world is very crucial right now in my view. And I have to say that all of us can use our energy and our prayers and our, to help the team, to come forward and to be able to actualize the things that they set out to do. Now, I don't know, it's kind of like, I think it's kind of going back and forth like that right now. And so, but I do believe in terms of, Trump has the Trump cards. So he's going to have the goods, at least to change the legal system. But judges are corrupt. So, I don't think being like sort of airy-fairy and pretending that there's nothing to worry about is the way to go. I think that we have to be concerned. I think that we have to know that there are forces arrayed against us, but there is a good side to that. And the good side is that we have challenges to our humanity that will make us better than we are right now. So you are going to rise above it. You're going to be the best you can be. And, you know, you can take the hits and just transcend. And I think that what you do is with each challenge, you get better. Every time you meet each challenge, you're better than you were the time before, right? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That old saying is really true. So with that in mind, we should be like dynamite right now. And myself, I feel stronger than ever. So, you know, and what I'm seeing on this panel is some really strong souls. So I'm thinking, wow, if they're on my team, how could we lose? You know what I'm saying? So this is what is so inspiring to me. And so I'm very excited to have you guys here. You know, I didn't even know what we're going to do today, but I'm very excited by the direction we're taking here. And just want to say thank you, everyone, for showing up and for the people. And it's a miracle because, like I say, I was locked out of my YouTube channel. So maybe this will have a chance to get to the people. You know, and obviously I'll put it on the smaller platforms, but you have to keep in mind that when they take away your main audience, if it's really large, it takes a long time and sometimes they never find their way. I mean, I've got people writing to me saying for the last 2 weeks, you haven't done anything. Well, that's not true. I have an alternate YouTube channel. I broadcast 3 times a week at least, you know, and I'm always writing articles and doing everything, but nobody thinks to go to my website. You know, it's that whole thing where they're locked in a certain pattern. So I'm just saying, let's, you know, it's great to have new platforms. I'm so happy to have them out there. You know, I wish there was one that was a clear cut, you know, I could go there. Some are ignoring me. I tried to join them. They don't even let me. I don't know what's going on out there. So it's very strange stuff going on. But at any rate, it's very inspiring at the same time. So now I want to go around and basically talk about, you know, if you were president and if you were dealing with this situation, understanding how they're kind of allowing the dark to display itself in order to overcome it, you know, in order to wake up the people. You know, we have to take responsibility for the people who are not woken up. And this, I think, is something that is like a hallmark of the Trump team. So what I want to ask everyone is, you know, what do you think about their strategy? They have a strategy that they've rolled out over the last 4 years, and especially it's, you know, it's very clear that everything sort of hangs right now on their strategy. So any thoughts on strategy, advice for Trump, you know, and the team? Anything you think they could have done better, or that they should, you know, I, for one, think, you know, God, hit the ground running right now with tell the indictments, tell the, you know, show the wins, show the, you know, as much as you can about what, you know, the children you've rescued, put the evidence out there so no one can say nay, you know, to this. This is your moment. So Sean Stone, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. You know, my question exactly to people, these sealed indictments are real, and that, you know, you have this evidence against these parties, and you've got the laptop of Hunter Biden now, you've got the Wiener laptop, you've got the you know, the Podesta emails, you got the Hillary emails, you have so much evidence supposedly, right, that we've been hearing about for so long. Well, Trump's still in charge of the military. There's 3 months, regardless of what happens with the election, and this is a moment where, you know, I see it like, as I said earlier, the Civil War. I think energetically, the Civil War is playing out. You know, we already see it with the red-blue divide, and regardless of, you know, whether or not Biden, of course, I don't think got more votes than any president in history, but there are a lot of people that, you know, that are scared of Trump and that are on that blue side. And so you can look at the map and know that there is this division within our country. And so it's like how to lead, I think energetically, how to lead at this time. The best way is to show sedition. And as we know, there is sedition, right? This is the real issue: sedition, treason, betrayal. How do we expose this? And it's not obviously just us. It really is from the top down. I know Q is doing their thing with leaks. And, it's this question of how do you basically utilize control of the military, play your hands, and at the same time know that there are even greater stories playing out, Kerry, as you talk about. There is an an alien story playing out here, an interdimensional story playing out here. There is an international story playing out with the British Empire, with Chinese influence. I mean, there's a lot of things that are playing into this whole situation that people, I think, can't even fathom, who haven't even started researching this. And even at our level of research, we still don't have the full picture. So, it's like at one level, I just say, okay, you got the military, arrest these people, start, just let's finish this thing. We need to reveal this now, because otherwise, when Biden comes in and starts locking down America like they're doing in Europe, it's going to get very scary for the entire planet. But at the same time, I do feel that there is a timeline here. There are choices that we have to make as souls, and we have to work through this journey and this process. And sometimes maybe the New World Order at some level has to come to its conclusion to be fully exposed before people will fully understand that. I don't know.
Okay, absolutely. Laura, what do you have to say?
Well, so just sort of like thinking if one was in that position. I've processed this kind of thing a lot, just with, being related to Eisenhower, what he must have been up against. The scary thing is that they can rewrite history. They can make the good guy or the heroes or the leaders that really had our best interests at heart look like the ones that, screwed up or screwed us over. So, I mean, plans always have to be set in place for the next generation. So what Eisenhower did is he set aside a time capsule in the Gettysburg Farm not to be open until 2050 to reveal everything that he couldn't reveal because of all the threats that were put upon him. So, and that's sort of like how information needs to travel. How can you preserve something that is going to be almost like wiped off the board and taken away completely and totally? Because when you look at the way history has been rewritten and what we're seeing in the here and now, do we want to read about Trump in our history books as being responsible for this COVID virus thing? I mean, or like something where our future generations are going to read about this time in history and see somebody who had our back be like disgraced or looked at in a way that they don't deserve. I mean, so we got to preserve these historical events as best as we can, is one part of it for me. As far as like, could he be doing anything differently? And preserving it through also friends and passing it like a baton through generations, like, okay, make sure you open this at this particular time in order to get something that might help to reseed a civilization eventually. But we're also dealing with a much larger picture. But I have to say, I am an astrologer. I mean, I learned it, and I wouldn't say that I'm controlled by it. It's just a reflection of something that's already going on within us. And we can't blame things on our chart or anything, but it helps us to understand patterning, just like if we understand our own biology and we get deep into the science of certain aspects about ourselves. I mean, it's just a science, but on a more multidimensional level. When I did his chart and made it clear that every move that he's making is in alignment with the truth frequency and some greater force and power. And there can't really be like a wrong move. I mean, there could always be, well, it would have been nice if you could have said this or could have done that. And I've got a list of that kind of thing. And I know we all could probably agree on that part of it. But as far as just the timing of it all and the synchronicities and the way that it's all set up, this is something encoded in his soul that even if on a conscious level, he doesn't fully get it, it's happening. The North Node and the South Node connect with the greater soul matrix. It's something that is beyond our ego and our personality. And the things that are encoded in his greater destiny is something that, whether he accepts it or not, is flowing through him. It's like a lot of us with our missions. Some days we'd probably like to take a vacation and just be like, can I just like have a week off of my mission? No. Even when you're relaxed, you're going to get downloads and you're going to be like sorting things out and messages are going to come through and you're just never able to really rest. Except for find that Zen, sort of find your divine center. But it's very, very obvious that everything that's coming through on levels and dimensions of himself that are above, I don't want to say above as in superior, but like operating outside of the ego personality matrix absolutely has this encoded as like the victory of the light. but it's not about one winning over the other in the duality war. It's about integration of polarity at the end of the day. So we're going to see these different extremes play out of the loss of something, the humiliation, the attack, the fear breathing down our neck, or the threats of AI and assimilating us into, you know, these darker technologies. And then we're always going to see like this other side of potential possibility, ascension, and all the good stuff. So there's a certain place in this energy of Uranus, which he holds next to his North Node and Sun sign, where we need to draw the two together and begin to, you know, bring unconditional love into the darkest of corners, so that we can begin to invite it into, you know, these areas, so that we're not entangled in the battle, because that's so draining. And I just really feel that he's really holding, not, he doesn't have the concept of like enemy. He is not racist. He is in a truth, you know, vibration. But I bet you, you know, if the darkest of forces were to turn around and like wave their surrender flag, he would be the kind of person to want to help in their rehabilitation and not just like crush them down to the ground, right? Not to say that these individuals don't deserve to be held accountable, but if we don't understand what made cabal members, as far as the multi-generational like trauma-based mind control and the splintering of personalities and alters and sleeper agents and Manchurian candidates, if we don't understand the kind of like bigger picture that we're dealing with, as far as what makes a particular leader or individual operate the way that they are, how are we ever really going to heal? So we need to like see all that, those psychological operations and the potential of New World Order is that catalyzing shadow work that we need to face and bring the love energy, bring that higher frequency into it with like some level of compassion and understanding and like research and wisdom about it, and invite it into like come home again and see who comes along. And then whoever doesn't, it's like, okay, well, you guys need to get the heck away, because you're not a part of, you know, wanting to grow, wanting to free yourself, wanting to rehabilitate and recover, you know, and if you know, we need to at least offer that choice. And so he actually holds that in his frequency. And so do many of us that have similar missions. So I see us as like a team light kind of thing, where we all have our different roles, but we're bringing in the same kind of thing. And, but we need to address our situation with being able to educate humanity about what it means to become a cabal member, and like what the history is behind like the Illuminati families and just everything. Get that education back, get that bigger picture back. And I can tell you, I bet so many individuals, you know, will be ready to share their story, who will lay down their sword and say, I'm done with playing on the dark side. I just was so afraid that you'd want to kill me that I was afraid to leave, you know? So I'm just seeing a bigger picture of like entering the unified field, grabbing as many souls as we can, and whoever remains and refuses and just wants to play the dark controller role, you know, they need to be put on like an Alcatraz planet and get the F off Mother Earth.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Okay, so Sharnael.
Yes, so love what you guys had to say. That was freaking awesome. You know that we're in a timeline war. I mean, and what's really cool about Trump, and you guys have already said this, is I don't know if they're using Looking Glass or Yellow Cube or what all technology, or if he's just freaking brilliant, which he is. I agree with David in that he is probably just one of the smartest guys ever. But with each and every decision, there's, you know, others are making decisions too, and each choice changes the timeline. And so you got to not just figure it out, but you got to figure out what would happen if this would happen, if that would happen, and all the things. And he seems to be doing that and having this team. Now, as far as what is he doing right, Kerry, you and I had talked about this a week or so ago, and you actually brought this up. I love what you're saying about if Trump just came in and like killed everybody and put them all in jail, most people would be like, what the hell? Like, we would just think crazy person just, you know, got into office, and we wouldn't know the backstory, right? We wouldn't understand it all. It's kind of like if you had a boss, you know, and I'm sure some of you have had a job where you got the new manager who came in, or the new company owner, and they just cleaned house, got new people, whatever. But what has been nice when you've got a new boss is the guys who come in and then they go around and talk to everyone and go, so what's going on here? What can we change? What's the best? And like looking at everything and trying to talk to everyone and figure out what we can do, and working with everyone. So when Trump's come in, he's basically like already knew all the backstory. He's already know what's going on, and anything he didn't know, he found out really fast. And then he started really putting all of this in action. And I think, like Laura said, I think it was Laura, this has been for years before he even got in. He already knew, and I think that's why he got in and why he finally was just like, okay, yes, I'm going to do this, because he was seeing that nobody else was. No one else was doing it. And he's like, okay, I guess it's me. I guess I'm the one who's going to have to do it, right? And so, you know, what do I like about, I mean, sure, I would love to see arrests and like for him to just like, you know, put everybody, you know, away and whatever. But there's what Sean was saying about letting people see, you know, letting people see is a huge way for people to actually integrate some of this stuff in a way where it's like, oh, and then to the point where we're begging him to do something. Instead of we're mad at him for doing it, we're begging him, please do something. And I think a lot of people are there, but I also think like, okay, for example, what if we did have a landslide? What if it, I mean, and we did, we had a landslide. It wasn't public. It's not out there yet. We all know there was a landslide. Lots of people know there was a landslide, but what if it was all over the news that it was a landslide? You know that immediately the other side, if there is another side, whatever, the blue would be like, well, they cheated, they did whatever. There would be some sort of fight like we've had for the last 4 years of everyone trying to impeach him and come against him and do all the things. So here he is like, you know what, I'm going to let you guys just do your thing. And I want to let everyone see how stupid and idiotic and evil and creepy and ridiculous you are by hanging yourself, giving you the rope. And there you go. See how fraudulent you are, see how corrupt you are, and just let everybody figure it out. So one of the things that I really like about him is he's went around the media by continuously using Twitter and all the other things, you know, even against what everyone said is like, oh, quit Twittering in the middle of the night, and all the memes of him like sitting up in the middle of the night, you know, tweeting at 4 a.m. or whatever. But he's doing that. And you know what I think it's really done is it's inspired and encouraged other people to do the same thing. They're like, he's doing it, I'm doing it. And we're starting to see the fake news. You know, he keeps on saying, you know, he'll call Hillary Crooked Hillary or whatever. He's got these names. And same thing with fake news. It's drilled in us. He's brilliant. He is speaking things over and over and over. And that's part of my books called The Science of Miracles. And it talks about like resetting the code. And so if you watch him and you listen, every single thing that he says, he's telling you something 10 times more than what he's actually saying. You can look at the time that he says it, how long he says it. I mean, of course, at 2:30 in the morning, what does he do? He gets up after the election, or still was awake actually, 2:30, and he's like, guess what? You know, this happened, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to see that at 4 o'clock in the morning, we find a bunch of ballots. Okay, so what happened? At 4 o'clock in the morning, we found all the numbers went up like 138,000 just for Michigan alone, and his didn't move a single thing. He was telling us. And also at the 2:30 is where the whole social media thing is hung up on, like what we can do and where we're being centered. I mean, he's so freaking brilliant. So he's giving us permission to be more aware, to really step up our own game, to use social media the same way he is, so we can go around this programming lull. You know, I don't want to name all the news networks, but he is, it's like Trump TV. He's got his own like network. And even though they've censored him, even it's like, he doesn't care. He's like, okay, I'll just get someone else to do it. And all these other people, he's got an army of people who are on social media for him now, retweeting and doing their own things. And David, earlier this week, when these guys got deplatformed and I got put in jail, he had talked about this dam. And I love this analogy, but he was saying, you know, it's like if there's a crack in the dam and you put your finger in it and then another crack, you put your finger, eventually the whole thing is going to just come down. There's no stopping this. And so, yeah, would I love that the arrest happened? Sure. But I also wish that my dad bought me a car when I was in high school. And, you know, but it's like, but I learned because I did it myself, and I got, you know, we're all like these chicks and baby eggs right now. It's like you go in there and you like hit the shell and you break them free. They're not going to be strong. And so he's like letting all of us kind of like chip through, and he's allowing us to see and grow and do our own thing as responsible beings, and to get our bearings and to work with them. And that adds as a collective to help really shift to stand up, because love looks like a lot of things. You know, you can be, you know, strong and hold the line. Laura talks a lot about boundaries and holding the line. She spoke with me last year personal on some things, saying you're gonna have to really hold the line on some things and love, you know, you're really gonna have to love yourself. And I think we're all at that stage where we're having to make boundaries, but also maintain boundaries like we never have before. And just that little mini version of what we're doing and participating in is actually the same thing that's happening on a global level. And we're all collectively getting stronger. You said, Kerry, you feel strong. I feel the strongest I ever have. I can't even go into some stuff personally, but I'm just like, dude, who am I? Like, who's that person? Like, I'm like, I don't even know who I am. I'm like, I just said that. And I just did that. And I'm like, look at me, you know, and I'm nothing about me, but I'm just saying, I'm even seeing me respond instead of react. And there's a difference in medicine. If you have medicine and you take it and there's a reaction, that's bad. But we're responding. We're working through this stuff. We're loving, we're being true. And that authenticity has a vibration that is contagious. It goes in the biofield. And just like Trump, he goes out there and he speaks, we already won. You know, everything like David said, you know, there's going to be fraud. He's putting it out there already. He's already just like sticking it in the atmosphere for us to really catch on if you're paying attention. So, you know, I'm not him. I'm not going to pretend to be him. That's like me, you know, he's got a much broader picture. So how, you know, for me to say like, if I were you, I'd have done that, dude. Probably I don't have enough information to judge why he's done what he's done, but I'm going to trust, just like I trusted my parents to say, no, you can't go hang out with that person, or no, you can't go to that party, or no, I'm not going to buy you this, and I'm not going to do that. You're going to have to get a job. I'm going to just trust that he's doing what he's doing out of the loving, caring person, the responsible person, the leader that he's called to be, like Laura said. And then I'm going to work on the things that I know to do for me and be responsible in those things and just do my part, you know, participate in what I'm supposed to do. And so that's kind of my 2 cents. But oh, one more thing. I'm going to say this, going back to the landslide thing, as much evidence is out there. Sean was talking about all the evidence that's out there. There's so much that's already been disclosed. So much. I mean, how much more do you even need? And do you know, I literally still have people who don't believe there's DUMBs, that don't believe there's anything that's going on with kids, that don't believe that people are rescued. And, you know, it's for those people that they're going, you know, just a little bit longer, just tarrying a little bit longer. It's for those people, because there's got to be something. I don't know what it is, but Jesus Christ, please, somebody, like something's going to have to happen. And I'm seeing some people, I hope you guys are too, please, dear God, I hope you guys are seeing people wake up. But for the time in this last 7 months, I've actually seen people go, you know what, I think you might be right. Or, you know what, I think I just heard this, or telling me what I've been saying the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, I think I might've said that a year ago. But so I think it's working because they're showing, like Sean said, they're showing and they're letting us see, just like a dad would let 2 kids deal with it and work it out and let them figure out, you know, when you touch the stove, you get burned and it sucks. So you're not going to do that anymore. So it's just a different level for me of just trying to trust him and trust God and all of us, and encouraging everyone to participate and not just wait for freaking aliens or UFOs or Santa Claus or whoever to come in and save the day. But we are the ones. We're the ones. The very DNA of God is in our cells, and we must participate. We don't get a pass. This is something that we got to get up and do. And we're going to be held accountable if we just sit around and be passive and be like, oh, they'll do it. No way. This is your turn. All of you watching, this is your turn to do something. Figure out whatever that is and do that. Participate. Do not sleep on the job. But this is an important time for all of us.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Okay, Amelia.
So I think that's actually a really great question about the president, because I hadn't even thought about it that way before. So, and I actually got some guidance in. And then while Dr. Sharnael was speaking, I was like, oh my God, my guides are talking to hers, because you'll see with all the things I wrote down, it kind of fits together. It's kind of cool. So what I realized was the first thing I would do if I was president is I'd hire Trump. Okay, so that would be my first thing I would do. Next thing I would do is I would create a Black leaders community, like a committee, a roundtable that would consist of young Pharaoh and Kanye West and Ice Cube and Nick Cannon and a few other people, so that can also so that they can actually start coming together with some really, really good ideas, so that we can stop the disparity that's happening with the Black community and how it's being used against good, and we need to actually sort that out. So that's something I would make a priority. But the other thing, which you kind of hinted at actually a little bit to do with the social media, is I would actually, let's pick one. If I'm Trump, or I'm there with Trump, or I'm in the presidential position, let's pick or create a social media that has video, that has that is like a cross between Instagram and YouTube. Let's have something like that. And let's make sure it's protected, it's on this whole clever blockchain stuff, or I'm not a tech person, but, so that it can't be taken down. And then as Trump, let's start letting everyone know about it. The celebrities that are pledging to help Trump, let's have them do exclusive interviews, exclusive movies, exclusive music and videos and all sorts of stuff on this one place. So we start creating this one place. So in this place, there's also like education, and we can put lectures up, and people like ourselves could actually teach a lecture and have it submitted there. And so what I believe we need is, we've seen that big tech is clearly on Hunter's dad's side. And so I keep just referring to him as Hunter's dad now. But to actually have a social media, and I think this is something that could actually be put in play right now, to actually choose one, because that's the thing, there are things, Sean's just put out the documentary on Aurum, there's all these, I can't keep up with all the different names because they don't feel familiar. He needs to choose one and promote it, and through his network, let that go out through everybody, and then let's make the most of the celebrities that are jumping on his bandwagon. So that's kind of like my first idea about what I would do if I was Trump. I would say that the way that he's progressing, I would describe it very much like my own life. And I know I live in alignment, and I know I live in love. And the way I would describe it is there's progress and there's happiness, and it's good, but there are hiccups. I broke my ankle in the summer. Things happen. So I think that I think his progress is like that. Things are progressing, but then there's hiccups, but then the progress continues. I know everybody wants a lot of arrests and things, but I keep being shown the same vision, which is that when he takes them by the hand and leads them down the path, he's taking them all the way to the jail at the end. He's not just going to take them halfway and then they manage to escape. So it has to be that all of the things are in place to make sure that these arrests are permanent. We can't just do arrests to placate the people. That's kind of like instant gratification. We need permanent results on that. And then the other thing I got was just that the balance between the airy fairy stuff and the 3D action. I'm all about that. So basically, yes, love wins. Love is the most powerful energy we have. Love is what brings us all together here now. Self-love is what creates these focused, braved warriors. So self-love is essential, because once you love yourself enough, you rid away the toxicity, you heal your wounds, you get into mission, and then you start helping people and you start creating more and more teachers. So I think we need to encourage the self-love and the love aspect, but not necessarily in a kind of airy-fairy way, but to understand that it creates warriors. It creates people like ourselves that do we sit there and think of the consequences of speaking this stuff out here in the world? No, we're just here doing it. This is what self-love creates. And when we have hundreds and thousands of millions of these around the world, these brave, focused warriors that love themselves, we're unstoppable, because yes, there's aliens, and yes, there's this and stuff that's connected with this, but the weapon is love. But it's love and action. It's that balance of masculine and feminine. It's that, we just got to get it right in the pocket, and I think that just comes through people understanding that this is a war on our consciousness, and the way to protect and arm yourself is to heal inside and to treat yourself with love. And through doing that, everything just starts opening up for you. And I feel like that's what's going to happen in the world.
Okay, thank you. So David, are you there? Because I see where you've got your still picture. Oh, there you are. Okay.
It's because my dogs bark. And they come up and lick my face and they do all that stuff. So no, I think what Trump's doing right now is a brilliant job. I think if you're going to drain the swamp from the top to the bottom, you cannot give anybody, you can't telegraph anything. You can't start arresting this person and that person and then telegraph it all the way, because this is going to go from the top to the very bottom, the federal level to the local level. And he's letting them all incriminate themselves. It's brilliant to me. I mean, this is right out of the handbook of Sun Tzu. So this is a strategic method, and I think he's doing a great job. I think I think what he's doing with the indictments and what he's doing, he's basically, you can't really go after what he wants to do. What this election, they knew this was like the finale, like the season. This was the season finale. This was the big one. They had to let everybody commit the fraudulent activity they're doing right now. So that's why I think he's letting this go. He's giving them all the rope they need to hang themselves, every single one of them, from federal to local judges, everywhere. And that's it. And then you go after all of them and you do a clean sweep. This is the fastest way to get them all. It's like putting bait out, and just letting them all just, and then that's it. You get them all. It's a trap. And that's how I would. You got to remember, this guy's an avid student of Sun Tzu, and I know he has military intelligence behind him that are telling him what to do. This is not just all Trump. So that's how I see this, and it's brilliant. And there's nothing I could have done if I was president. There's nothing I would say, hey, Trump, help me out with this for a second. Let's brainstorm it, because that's how I see it. I think he's doing a masterful job, and it's going to be very uneasy for everybody, obviously, as it is right now. It's very uneasy to go through this, see the liberals celebrating. The problem is that when he starts surgically dismantling this agenda and dismantling this hoax, we are going to deal with civil unrest. Obviously, right now the liberals are happy. They're running around, throwing the flags out in the air. I'm watching them here in El Paso, but that's only going to last so long. And then, they're going to get violent again. And when that happens, civil unrest, and then maybe a military and others sweep up for the rioters and looters, and there's going to be there's going to be hell to pay for that one, So that's how I see it going down. So I think this is going to be surgically dissected, just little by little. And then as the days go on, we're going to start seeing the grip tighten and tighten and tighten and tighten, like a boa constrictor. And then pop, it's going to pop their heads right off and they're done. That's how I see it.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, I think I kind of maybe said my part about this a bit already, so I'm not going to say a lot. But I will say that just watching the strategy is really quite fascinating, and I have kind of enjoyed the show, if you will. I can say that there are disheartening things going on. There are things about even in social media and other people, out there that are picking up the wrong information, that are pushing some information that's not true. I think there's a lot of desire to parrot what's out there and not think about what you're parroting. So I think that it's important to realize that we've gotten some wrong information. Some people are putting out wrong information, and they've proven wrong already. So I think, at least for the people that have been following Trump, I would just have a cautionary note along those lines, that to be careful of who you're following and who you're listening to, and be discerning, because I do believe there are individuals who are appearing to be, on the right side, and yet they're undercutting the situation. And we saw that with Fox, for example, because Fox was showing themselves to be supposedly behind Trump in many ways, and they're supposed to be a Republican-based platform. That's actually how they were created by Isles back in the day. But as you could see on election night, that's not what was happening at all. In fact, it's still going on. It's actually appalling. So I have to say the commentary is, it's, you're watching these numbers and everything, and it kind of like zones you out. But if you actually listen to what they're saying to each other on the shows, I think it's seeping into the consciousness of people out there. And it's important to be critical. It's important to know when you're being taken for a ride. So this is part of the journey and part of the challenge that we have right now. And I don't think you need to look at even Trump and their team as all powerful and all knowing. I think, we can advise them. So I'm not so much in a place where I see a parent-child relationship. I actually see us as, we're equals at the very least. Okay. I'm not going to get into a whole scale thing, but, on a spiritual level, we're all equal. In essence, we all get there eventually. We're all going to reunite with source eventually. And time and space are an illusion. So once you know that, then understanding that we're all spiritual beings having this earthly 3D experience, and some are better at it than others, and some have done it before, and all of that kind of thing. In Trump's case, I think he was patent. I think he was ideally suited. I think his connection with his uncle through, with Tesla is a key bell ringer behind the scenes to let you know that when he talks about coal and all of this, he is talking in a way to deal with the situation in the here and now and the people in the here and now. So not so much to the lowest common denominator, but at least to be inclusive rather than exclusive. So I think that's important, and that's a plus. But I also think that, let's not forget the light at the top of the hill, so to speak, and that there's a really positive journey in store for us. And I think this is what inspires him and his team. So let it inspire us, and don't just settle. So I think we also need to be advisors. I think we need to be, telling him when we think he might have overlooked something, or his team might be making some errors in judgment. They're not perfect, any more than anyone else. So I just think, I think they do have the help with ETs. I'm sure of that. I don't think they would have survived without it, because we've got such a strong negative side operational here on the planet. It has to be that they're backed by the positive to have made it this far. So, I'm very happy about that. But I also think we are those ETs in essence, because they are us and we are them. So I think it's really important to realize that it's we can help with what we have to bring to the table. And I think that we need to continue to be super discerning at every moment and every juncture, looking at this playing field and looking at decisions made. We have people out there saying 5G is gone. And yet I know people who have been walking around who have felt it. I know that I've been hit by some very weird electronics lately. So, it's like they didn't take it out of it's not possible, if you can think about it this way, to take the technology out of the hands of the dark side. Once you have scalar technology and know how to operate it, then you can run with it. It doesn't matter, you can take down this apparatus or that apparatus, but it's actually, in essence, free energy is really free. The, energy from the vacuum is accessible to humans. And, free energy activists have been out there inventing all kinds of things. And in some cases, they let them live. In some cases, they bankrupt them. In some cases, they jail them. Some cases, they kill them. So we're still in a big battle. And we cannot sleep on the job, in essence. And I think that we have to realize is that this whole thing has been about not asking humanity what they want, in essence, pretending to ask them, but not actually asking them. So let's change that, let's change it up. Now, I do want to ask, and I know I don't want to keep everyone too long, and I know, it all takes time to go around the circle, but nonetheless, what I wanted to say was, let's look at the near future and maybe the far future, however you want to sort of couch your comments. But I want to ask the panel here, if you can talk about what you see in the near term, and don't be afraid. I know I get the feeling, with these kinds of things where nobody wants to say anything negative. So they all say nothing but positive stuff, but then it just kind of is a whitewash. So let's not do that. Let's look at the near term. Let's look at what might happen or what might not happen. And if you've been getting any downloads, if you've been getting any precogs, you might not have got them. Like I've seen the Chinese invading years, I hope it's years from now. But maybe it's not, I don't know. I might get something and then I don't know if it's going to happen. So let's just talk about, for the purposes of the panel here, look into the future, see what you see, and try to bring that forward. If you've had any dreams, it doesn't have to be a judgment. It could just be, sharing that, because the people listening are the same as us, right? They're having dreams, they're having visions, they may be getting messages. They may see something positive a few months down the road, because we see a lot of really dark things in the offing right this minute. I mean, Britain has gotten locked down, Europe is locking down, France is locked down. Some really negative stuff. Now they're thinking they're going to have a new sort of mutation of this so-called virus, which isn't contagious anyway, but it is AI created and nano based and so forth. So, look at the future, see what you see, and share with us, okay, if you don't mind. And let's start with, in order of just going around the circle, Dr. Sehon right now.
I don't necessarily have any precogs. Most of the stuff that I've already shared with you was way back, having to do with already praying for Trump and actually putting into motion any energy towards him and just supporting him back in 2007, when he was just on a regular TV guy and real estate and what have you. And I've had a few since then that really gave me the push to keep going and to actually just really support him and rally the troops to support him, whether it's through the meditations like Laura and David are doing, and some of these mass type groups. I had set up a group just for people to send out positivity towards him and his family and his team, because what I had seen is there was a part where he was starting to get a bit weary, and but my God, that was actually a little bit before the COVID whatever thing. And then he was missing. He had made an announcement that he was missing. And then next he comes back and he's like freaking Energizer Bunny doing like 1 billion rallies with 60,000 people every hour, with all over the world, he's 74. And I've traveled a lot over the years and sometimes did different states and countries in a weekend. And I got tired, and I was in my 20s, 30s, and 40s doing that. And so, what I see is that, I do believe there's going to be arrests. I do believe that people are going to go down. I don't think that anyone's going to get away with anything. And I do believe, like Laura said, that there's some people who are sort of kind of caught up or trapped, whether they're blackmailed or their kids are on the line or their families have been threatened, and they sort of got to play along because of that. I think there's going to be some people who actually turn and help and start helping, or actually probably already have been helping, but just can't do everything as much as they want to, sort of like spies for the situation. And that's going to come to light. I absolutely believe that something's going to really happen with the media. I think media is going down. Media is going to have to be completely redone. I don't know the timeline. but there is absolutely no way that it will continue the way that it has, not just with the television, but with the social media too. With all forms of media, there's going to have to be a total overhaul of that. And of course, there's been lots of talk about reset money, digital, that kind of stuff. I'm not, I don't have information. I mean, I've heard a lot. If it happens, super great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. You guys may have more information on that. I just think that in order to be the new version of all the best things that we can be, whether it's government, music industry, Hollywood, you know, that there are people coming up to the surface, the cream of the crop, and they're having ideas and they're doing things differently. And like Sean's doing these great movies and things to actually bring light to some things. And there's going to be more of that. There's going to be lots more people who maybe like Amelia said, a big tech, Trump TV, whatever you want to call it. But there's going to be more things like that where people are coming together to try to make something better and to make the earth better. I also see the actual earth getting into a better situation, whether, you know, not with just plants and water and, you know, pollution and that kind of thing, where people are going to be more conscious of that. But it's going to take, you know, a lot of maybe some crazy stuff happening. With them using technology for like hurricanes and things like that, that's going to be exposed. This is ridiculous in the South and some of these places that have had however many hurricanes for all these distractions and fires in California and all this BS. That's going to be exposed. People are going to really start to see what's happening here. And it's like the curtain, you know, the wizard behind the curtain. It's like, it's going to come open and people are going to see. And I don't know how, and I don't know when, but I just, like I said from the beginning, it cannot continue this long. You cannot just keep on being freely evil and not get caught and not have any consequence. It catches up, and it's gonna catch up. It has to, because that's what energy is. That's the law. And I am waiting for the day for that to happen. And also I'm taking that time to look at myself and make sure that I'm on the right side of history and that I am being extremely cautious with my words, with my commitments, with my own integrity, being integrated, and actually just my word being my word and my yes being my yes, and making sure that I'm creating something positive to you, so I don't get anything, you know, coming back to me. And maybe even going back and being responsible for anything where, oh, I messed up there, and asking for grace and working those things out. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. And Sean?
Yeah, I guess I'll just follow up with exactly where you left it, which is this is the internal work. You know, there was a time when I was very deep into the research in the New World Order and the conspiracies and understanding all the different conspiracies that exist, right? The extra dimensional, the spiritual, the physical conspiracies, political, social controls. It exhausts anyone. And a lot of people, I think, get lost in these labyrinths of trying to understand from a mental landscape. And they are not realizing that we each have a role in this world, and we only have our own role, which is ourselves. And we oftentimes get so caught up with all the different threads and storylines that you get confused in the process. Many people are broken by it, or not doing the inner work which is to transform yourself, because we are here to anchor and hold space and frequency for the transition. We're not there yet. You know, we're just the beginning of this new age that's upon us, and the shift to fifth dimensional reality, being able to have consciousness through your dream time, having consciousness of your energy at all times. That is really where we are moving towards. We're not there yet. So to me, it doesn't really matter. I don't like these forecasts in a sense, because it doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is reminding people to do their inner work, show up every day and with more presence, more consciousness, more light, more love into their immediate reality. And watch, this is a time period where it's predicted, the revelations, the end times, the Christ talking about this, the falling away, you know, putting families against each other, friends against each other, because we're shedding that which is no longer necessary. Many are called, few chosen. This is that time where you don't have to worry about, okay, you know what, if those people go on their own path, if they end up bifurcating, if they end up going off on a different tangent with a different agenda or a different final, end result, that's okay. We don't have to think so much about, the fate of mankind is our responsibility. The more we focus on ourselves and what we bring and show up with in terms of our energy, trusting the universe is putting us where we are needed as lights, as beacons, and as, basically stepping into our power, we'll be guided along the way to the steps that we need with the people that are in our tribe, and letting go sometimes of the bigger conception, which is not always our responsibility or our concern. And oftentimes we get lost in that, trying to do too much and trying to offer too much or trying to be too much. And oftentimes it drains us. So I say, come back to yourself, focus on self, do the inner work, and show up every day, and just trust that the universe is putting you through this challenge to test you, to see what you're made of, right? To see what your metal is, what your character is, what your, how much of a diamond you can become when you are polished by the stress and the fracturing that we are going through. So that's what the message I leave people with. And with that, I do have to jump off, but I thank everyone for having this time together and having me on with you.
Okay, I'm very sorry about that. Trying to ask that person. People are, very excited about stuff lately and very enthusiastic. I'm sorry I didn't get to say goodbye to Sean, but it was great to have him on the show. So let's see, Laura, you're next. Go ahead. And the question, let's focus on the question, and however you want to answer it. And that's fine. So if you don't want to look at the future, or you don't want to discuss the future, you just want to talk about, going in, doing internal work. I think that we've kind of covered that subject, but if you want to touch on again, please feel free.
Oh, yeah.
But the question is actually about the future. So if you have been looking at the future, if you have any insight into what the future is, whether it's for yourself or for others, or for Trump and his team, and for the United States going forward, the world going forward, et cetera, et cetera. That's the question. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I definitely feel that there is sort of an end goal. It doesn't mean that you permanently arrive, though, but there's many different storylines that are going to be played out in order to reach that particular goal. And it's a part of what we need to go through in order to develop ourselves on a soul level. And, we're busting through the personality matrix. We are learning to recover, all these scrambled fire codes that has been called, junk DNA. In order to do that, we have to break through the fences and seals that have been placed in our DNA, and those act as gatekeepers. So when we're starting to move through those initiations, we're going to run into things and people and events that represent those gatekeepers. And in those moments, we have to, realize, okay, we're here to bust that down. We're here to, move through that. But they want us to hit our head against that fence and then give our power away and keep recycling back into this system, when it's an opportunity to actually, jump over that obstacle, move through that obstacle, or that veil, and begin to thin it by being able to face, what is concentrated in those fields of energy. And a lot of it is, astral parasites. A lot of it is those archonic, dark entities and belief systems, propaganda, mind control, all the dark technology, all the siphoning dark technologies that like to trick us when we're up against it. And the media does a masterful job at like hooking us in and tricking us into going backwards. And so instead of initiating forward, we're going backwards. And we might freak out, we might panic, we might think we're going crazy, we might have a nervous breakdown, and then go to the doctor to get on some pills or some medication, or, be given some diagnosis or some label that we have to carry around thinking something's wrong with us, when we basically almost got through the fence, but we just, ended up like feeling defeated by it, because it's not the most confidence building thing. It's going to like kick your butt to the ground, because they don't want us to move past those fence and gatekeepers. Because once we do that, we can't be a food source anymore. So what I see in the future is that, we're going to build a team. We're going to come together more and more and more and more. And as much as they might be like trying to kick Trump away and this administration and all of us, then we go over here then. And our creative energy can get engaged in, what's really available, our true contact with, higher benevolent beings that are working with us and are a part of this greater earth consciousness. We need to like step away from this BS over there. We don't need to mix our energies with them anymore. the election can begin to collapse when we put our attention on cosmic and natural law and what's actually real and what actually, really matters, where leadership isn't based in the cabal structure or hierarchy. It's based in we all support each other's missions, and the diversity of what we've come in to this world with, as far as our roles are concerned, are beginning to come together in harmony, and that we all support one another so that our greatest gifts and abilities can be expressed. And, we can work with the abundance of the earth medicines, growing food, having healing centers, being able to go into a space where we literally become the stargates that we're meant to be. And we start to, move through those initiations and those fences and seals and help each other and lift each other up when we're having those breakdowns and breathe through it. Then all of a sudden be able to open the gateways and activate the galactic chakras, switch on that dormant DNA, and begin to see a much, much larger picture. I just see that we're going to learn to hold space for each other more, learn to put our creative energy where it belongs, which is, all right, let's pull together some resources and get some land. Let's start to build some spaces here. Let's start to, get everything going so that this false matrix system will be like, oh, wow, I'm crumbling because I don't have anything to feed off of. Where did all the hosts go that I'm parasiting off of? So, there needs to be a big deprogramming centers, healing centers. Just, we all put our creative energy and our missions and our real goals, like over there, like different platforms, different focus. So even if these darker forces come, that want to attack, that want to stop us from being able to do that want to, restrict us and this and that, we're lucid dreamers. We're stepping into, once we move through these different fences, the multidimensional aspect of things. So where one body dies, another one is reborn. We are blipping through so many different timelines all the time. That's why there's, just the phenomena of like things like the Mandela effect. We got to drop the fear of death. We got to stay armed and protected, but it's like, we got to like live like dance like nobody's looking as a community. It's like, you guys are over there, we're over here, we're doing our thing. You want to come and bother us? Well, we're already well equipped and we can handle it, and we're getting more shielded, we're armed, and like so I just think the more we are ourselves and vibrating at the fullness of all that we can be, there will be no entry point on an auric field level, on a community level, on a, every other kind of level. And we will be able to handle, any kind of threat. Because the thing is, if we keep putting our attention on what they're going to do to us next, it lights up something in that fight or flight that they engage us, and they start to infect our creative channels, that we become too much a part of a storyline that we don't need to be a part of anymore. So I feel like we need to be a part of it now, but there's going to be a point where we're going to feel a lot better about cutting the cords without feeling like, oh, I've been deplatformed or I'm knocked off this and that, which yes, in these times is very like frustrating, but it'll make more sense as time rolls on that like we're being redirected over here. And they can, play their games and be like little immature, like ego, like negative ego, draconian agenda, parasitic brats, and try and make life miserable. But the thing is, it's just like, we're over here now. And if you want to come and bother us, good luck trying to penetrate the light field, because it's going to blow you back so far and so fast if you come in ill intention, because there's no vandals allowed. This is a sacred space. So everybody's got to do their inner work. They got to get into the highest vibration of integrity. They got to do everything that they can to step up to the best part of who they are, without feeling like if you have a bad day, or if you failed or got off the wagon, or, didn't do it so great, that's a problem. It's about community and love and compassion and supporting one another, and helping one another to move through those times where, we might slip and fall. And without the judgment, and just to really, just be real with each other, and know that we all are seeking the same common goal. And that if we do make a mistake, that we all are in agreement to do everything that we can to take the higher road and self-correct, and that's what we've all had to do to be where we are today. And so if we can give people that faith that a community actually exists like that, they're not going to just look at us like, oh, these are those people. They're going to feel the warmth, and I know they already do, but it's going to continue to grow to the point where they're like, why am I sitting over here on Twitter? All the cool kids are gone. And then it's pretty dark and miserable over here, and it just gets creepier and creepier. They don't realize like what they had when we were all around, so it's like, come on over here and come home, folks. So I just see that growing, and we are co-creating this. So I don't like to do predictions, because I know that in each and every moment we're creating our reality, and we just got to step up every day And my prediction is if we can do that, we're going to see something incredible happen if we take the challenge upon ourselves to be the best that we can be. But I don't see any other, possibility except for all these dark and catalytic events to remind us that that's where we need to go.
Okay, thank you so much. And Amelia, your turn.
Sorry, my mouse was stuck. Yeah, so I have a few things. One thing that I got that was really clear was that it is definitely tactical and strategical. And I'm using that word on purpose. It's what my friend Young Pharaoh uses it. I know it's not a real word, but it feels like everything is strategical in the way that everything's happening with the election. And so when we talk about the near future, Antifa are being held up in all sorts of nice hotels across America right now. And what's happened is, I believe that if Trump won, they were going to release the dogs. And if they won, then they're like, oh, okay, well, let's see, but because of this weird hold gray area, I think they're going to send them home, because I think the media is going to announce Hunter's dad as the winner. And then at the same time, it's going to be taken back later. But by then, Antifa have already been dispersed. And there are all these like random weird guys, it's weird people, and so they've all gone back now. So this weakens them so that then when Trump is announced, they're not as organized for it. So that was something that I was shown in the near future as taking place, that it's part of the plan, the strategy to actually have this gray area, and that this gray area is a safe zone. We're actually in the safe zone. It feels like we're in the most unsafe zone. We're actually in the safe zone. This is the safe place because we're neither here nor there. This is the best place for us to be right now. So I got that message. When you mentioned about the Chinese invading in a dream, what I was told by my angels was that that is happening now, but it's not happening in the way that we would have assumed it, because the word invade, you assume them, with wearing black with the guns and everything, but actually it's through like these signs on the bus stops in Canada saying the best thing you can do for your children is have none or have one. It's that kind of thing. The way that the Chinese are invading is through all these subtle little intricate plans that are already happening there. It's like, I keep seeing it like black ink being dropped in water. It's already like spinning all around the country and the other countries like Australia, Canada, UK, etc. So I feel like the Chinese invasion is upon us, but I also feel that we are fighting back and that Trump is completely aware of it, and that is what he is fighting. So I feel good about that. Something that I also see that's important to explain is I see like the Trump and Hunter's dad as the stepping stone to the future. So for example, imagine we're on one side of a stream and there's two rocks, and then there's the other side. The other side is 5D. And so either way, we have to jump on one rock or the other. One of them is slimy and wobbly, and you're likely to fall off. That's Hunter's dad. And then we have this rock hard one that's solid, but with sharp edges. That's Trump. So basically what happens is either way, we're getting to the other side. We're either going to jump on Biden and fall in and keep trying to get up, and it's going to be a struggle. It's the slow way to 5D. Eventually we will leap off of that awful stone. But, we would if we had to. But if we go on the Trump one, then we literally have a secure footing to leap to the next creation. And in that creation, I see very similar to Laura Eisenhower, which is that, I see a future with healing centers. I see the 50 years ahead that we truly are with technology being released, the free energy, the med beds, the agricultural things, the technological advances. So basically now humans are healthy, we're fed, we have free energy, our finances have been rebalanced, and so the money isn't all that it was, you know what I mean? Whether it gets eradicated or whether it becomes something that you use for non-essentials, but essentials are covered, but we still have freedom and we can still own properties, that kind of thing. So I feel like this future, for anyone who hasn't seen the Venus Project and the Zeitgeist Addendum, it's fun to watch just because of seeing what the buildings look like that he thought would happen in the future. I feel like us having the visualization of seeing these like amazing homes that with like, the plants that grow in the walls and all that sort of stuff, by us actually exposing ourselves to those actual visuals, it helps us to manifest that in, because we are manifesting geniuses. So us understanding what is possible, that is how I feel we shift the collective, is by the collective working on self, but also working on educating themselves so that they can then use this newfound power to manifest in what we need. Talking about the different sort of programs and being discerning about what you look at, the word I get is hopelessness. If anything ends with a hopelessness, that is something that is the darkness working through that person, and that is not something to take on board. So if I was to just give people one sign, like literally like a signpost, if something feels like hopelessness, that is not the one. That's something, that's a program running in that person, because that person hasn't done the shadow work. So the work is the dark's able to work through it. So I think hopelessness is something for us to look out for. And then there was one other thing that you said about naivety, Kerry, which really struck a chord, because 2 days ago I got a download that's the sickness in America and in the world, is naivety. Naivety that is fed by hatred. I hate Trump, so I'm just going to be naive. There's naivety through comfort, people that's lives are comfortable, their service to self, and they just think that their lives are not going to be affected by any of this. So they're just naive. And then innocent naive are the ones that they literally, maybe they've had quite a nice life and they can't conceive that people lie and steal and kill and hurt children and do satanic abuse and all of this stuff. They can't even conceive it, like their head can't, so they're literally naive through their sheer innocence. And then finally the self-centered, just the ones that are just so self-centered, kind of like the comfortable, where they just are in a state of naivety. And I believe that's the disease that we are here to cure. And that is just through us. And I do believe this platform is what we need. So any of us that have a way of contacting Trump, we need this one platform, whether it's Trump TV, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's created from scratch or one that already exists, we need this one platform now so that we can all power together. We can all create, like I said, documentaries, movies, music, everything, interviews. We can create a world within a world where that will then create the world that we want. And just, if this is the last time we're doing our circle, I just want to end on forgiveness. Forgiveness is how we create the future. Forgiveness is how you do the inner work. For anyone who wants to know how you do the inner work, obviously, that's what I do. And it's forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is the way to inner peace. And forgiveness is not saying that you're letting someone off the hook or that you need to let them back into your life. Forgiveness does not mean that what they did was okay, and it doesn't mean you have to tell them they're forgiven. But by releasing yourself, it allows you to rise higher, which the higher you rise, the more you can do to help others and be in service to others.
Okay, thank you. So David Rodriguez, and just let me say, we are going to wind this up. So once David talks, I will go around one more time, just asking people for parting words. So in case you're wondering, if we're going to go on forever. So go ahead, David.
Well, I think that we are in a, humanity is in a sense of the adolescent phase of humanity. If I had to put it in some kind, the way I see it is that humanity is going through the adolescent phase into adulthood. And right now, everything we're seeing is necessary for the evils that be to expose itself, and the crimes against humanity and all these things that are coming to light. I think we're being conditioned into this. The evil side has their way of wanting to condition us into accepting it, and then there's another side where it's being exposed where we will not accept it. And I think humanity is going in the direction we're fighting internally right now. And I think as this prolongs, it's like a snake shedding its skin. We are coming out of this old guard, shifting into the new guard, shifting into this new paradigm. And I think as we do this, it's going to be turbulent. It's going to be tough. And I think this could last. Who knows if this lasts a year or a decade or 100 years? I don't know how long this is going to last, but I think it's ultimately going to lead to a positive. It's going to lead into a positive direction. It's going in a positive direction, a positive trajectory, and we will be on the other side of the rainbow. And I think a form of socialism will be implemented, but it's not going to be by a bunch of elitist pigs guiding it and pushing humanity into bondage and this type of like slavery system. I think it's going to be a collective consciousness that accepts everyone's individuality and accepts humanity for the way it is, and we all kind of go into this positive future together, and we build together. And there's a different kind of monetary system. I see this like this utopian type of beautiful future in front of us, but we have to go through these hardships at first. And I think we're in it. I think we're in it right now. We're seeing everything, and I think it's going to last for a while. I don't think it's going to be an ongoing battle, but I do see us coming out of this and entering into a positive future. So I'll just leave it at that. And I do have to get going. So I just want to say bye to everybody, and God bless you all. Thank you, Kerry. I've always been a fan of yours.
Thank
I've
you.
watched a lot of your shows, Kerry, and Project Camelot. I've watched that for a long time. So thank you for having me. It's been an honor. It's been a real honor to be blessed, amongst all of you greatness, these beautiful females here. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, David. Love to have you on the show, on your own, to hear your story, etc. So
Absolutely.
you're invited.
Thank you,
All
Kerry.
right, thank
God
you.
bless you.
All right, take care. All right, so I guess the women are left. And I do think the women have a big role in this, and I think people more and more are seeing that. And I want to encourage the women out there that are still hiding their light under a bushel, as they say. Stop it and come forward if and when you're ready. I think it's a really good thing to do, and it just reminds me of a person I met the other night who's a lovely shining star, and certain sort of procedures and behaviors in the world are in place, and they're being told basically shut up and go over there and do this little thing. And that's I just want to send an encouragement out to all the women, because I do believe that female energy is here to right the world into balance at this time. And I think that's very crucial. So the more women we can get, speaking, doing channels, whatever works for you, healers, all good. Of course, in my view, women are natural healers. It simply comes with the sort of gender, if you will, because it's just a natural thing. But so just wanted to throw that out. So I just want to say that I think that there's a lot of potential in the future right now. I think the more the dark comes to light, the more the light is going to recognize itself. And so this is kind of the push comes to shove, if you will. And I actually don't see like everything being rosy for a while, but I do see humanity has already crossed the Rubicon to a certain degree, that we are an ascension planet, that we are ascending, and that the Earth is also possibly going to go along with us. I mean, I don't see those two as one. I see them as two separates, but the one can help the other. And I do think that the more the dark comes forward with some of these crazy things and gets exposed, the stronger we become in the light. So I'm just thinking about how California, for those that, we have this particular governor who is, bought and paid for member of the of the dark side, if you will, and has demonstrated that over and over again. And now there are some rulings coming forward to limit him from doing some diabolical things that he was planning and trying to do here, rolling out here in California. So I just want to say that they may have painted us blue, but I don't see California that way. And so I just wish people will. I think it's a good thing, the press wants to paint one state red and one state blue and all this kind of thing. I'm not so sure I see a landslide either way. I actually see more and more what we're talking about is a real, there are divisions, and we see that there are definitely people that need to wake up. And I can tell you that some really don't want to. So that's their choice. They're going to make their path. But I really see a mixed bag here on planet Earth, and I think the United States, microcosm, macrocosm, you can see that if they would stop painting a whole state one color, and actually maybe they should be showing it by county or whatever it is. They do that in some cases, like in Georgia, but it just it seems unfair and wrong to be painting one state all one color, when in reality there's other people there in that state that have points of view. So just throwing that out. So I want to say thank you again for being on the show today. I hope that some of our words are stimulating and useful for people out there, and help during these very sort of tumultuous, strange times. And I do believe the astrology supports that Mercury was, retrograde, went direct on the day of the election, the 3rd, and then Mars goes direct is retrograde and goes direct on next Friday, the 13th. And so the astrology would support that we won't really get a clear path forward until at least after the 13th, for what it's worth. So now I would like to go around the group and just get your closing statements, and then we'll close this down. So Laura, go ahead.
Well, it's been really awesome to be here with you guys. I think it's just so important to just keep doing this kind of thing because our words carry a lot of weight. I mean, Mercury is connected to the magician, and our words, can heal and uplift, and the truth frequency can dismantle the greatest of weapons, or our words, can hold a frequency of the mind control, or the fear and anxiety and darkness. So just hold space for yourselves, and just stay in gratitude, and work on your own relationship with yourself and everybody in your environment, and your family and your loved ones, and just take good care of the physical vessel, and just keep breathing through it, and know that we're being pushed to the edge in order to rediscover ourselves, and that's kind of what it takes sometimes. And even if we're not totally clear on what's happening in the outer world, we can be clear about our inner world, and keep generating really good energy into the collective. And it's going to be pretty difficult for a while, but we're resourceful, we are committed, we're devoted, and we have more on our side than we can possibly imagine. And part of getting out of duality to reclaim the fullness of all that we are is to experience the opposite of who we are, so that we can remember. And everybody's going to have their own personal event, and that sort of moment in their life where they, really start to stand in full alignment with it, and just know that if anything's contagious, it's that. And leading by example, is the best thing that we can do, and just to hold, a vibration of joy, and know that there's certain things that we will never give up: our soul, our DNA, and whatever it takes to protect those things. We're up for the challenge, because we're not going to submit. We're not going to be defeated. We're not going to back down. We're not going to allow this to weaken us. We're going to allow it to, strengthen us. Every weapon that they throw at us is a tool for our own awakening. If we can turn the weapons into tools for our remembrance of, our spiritual powers and gifts and abilities, it'll collapse in the face of, that acknowledgement. And yeah. So I don't want to, kind of drag on anymore, but guys, you can find me at cosmicgaia.org. You can sign up for my newsletter and stay in touch. If we get the platform, that's just a great way to stay in, touch, and doing a lot of different meetings to, build community and help people launch their missions. Just know that your higher self knows exactly why it's here at this time, and knows exactly what you need to do. So the more we can listen to ourselves and listen to our intuition, we will know what we need to do at all times. And just be very careful of getting distracted and depleted and derailed, and just trust what's coming through, and it'll lead the way. And as it leads the way, we'll come together more and more and more, and grow in this unified field. And that's, to me, like the way the immune system gets illuminated to wipe out disease. And we got to illuminate the things that are good and that work, and that are solution orientated, to knock out the stuff that's trying to compromise. And whatever tactics they use, let it be a reminder of your strength, instead of something that makes you feel like a victim, because we're not victims. Everything is pushing us in the right direction. So.
Thank you. Okay. And Amelia, and I just want to
Oh, and I
say,
just want to say thank you, Carrie, so much. Sorry.
oh,
And
yeah.
you guys.
Okay, I just want to say before Amelia goes, this panel was her inspiration. You know, it kind of started in a rocky way. She contacted me just to say hello, and then she said, "Oh well, maybe we could do a discussion with, you know, a couple of you guys," and then it kind of blossomed to be as many people as it is. And so I just want to say she was the inspiration for this, and I want to thank her very much. So go ahead, Amelia.
Thank you, thank you. And I just love to see things come into creation like this, you know, from the idea and then becoming something solid and amazing that's helpful to the world. So it's wonderful. I just received a message that relief will come in waves. So the same waves of the waking up, the relief will come in then too. And I was also told it's like learning to surf. So it's kind of like, you know, again, on the front line, as much as things are tough, a lot of us on the front line are still at managing to stay on the surfboard, despite what's going on, you know, because we are being guided well enough to be in the right place at the right time. And so the relief will come in waves. So again, as people rise up, more live from the heart space, become service to others rather than service to self, face their own shadows, relief comes in, because as you come into alignment, you are able to start avoiding so much of the pain. So the relief is coming. I want everyone to know relief is coming, but it's going to come in waves, and it's going to be equal to the amount of work that you put in, both on healing yourself and then on healing humanity. So you heal yourself, you do that battle between light and dark within, and then once you've won the battle within, you go out and start becoming one of the warriors out here, working out here on the front lines to battle against it. And so that's really important, because a lot of people are feeling like, when's relief going to come? It's coming, but just understand it is relative to the work you've put in. And the same way that, like with teachers, the teachers are teaching people at different vibrations. We're all equal, but again, we're all at different stages of waking up. And so there's different teachers for different vibrations. And I think it's really important within our community that the teachers and the leaders, that we understand that some people are teaching. Let's imagine if there was a scale from 1 to 10 on the happiness scale, 10 being like, whoa, amazing, and 0 being like suicidal. Some people are here for the 1, 2, 3s. Some people are here for the 6, 7s. Personally, I'm here for the 6, 7s, 8, 9s. That's kind of my area, you know. So it's like us not judging the other teachers that are maybe here for a different, they're here to teach a different level. Because there's a lady I came across on Instagram just the other day, and I recognized straight away that her entire audience, which is huge, was like my advanced clients. They're 9s. So it's like, so she's able to speak differently, but then maybe she might judge how I speak because I'm speaking to a different area. So that was something that came through. And then finally, just a tip for those that are watching, and that is that the shadow has the most power over you when you are tired, sick, hungry, or in pain. So whenever you feel sadness, before you start allowing that sadness or hopelessness or worry or fear to come in and start growing inside of you, first ask yourself if you're tired, sick, or hungry. Because if you're tired, you need to sleep, you need to rest. If you're sick, then you need to just take care of yourself and not worry about the rest of the world until you're physically strong. And if you're hungry, get your blood sugar up, because most of the anxiety attacks and bad decisions on the planet are simply made because people haven't eaten. So these basics go back to what Laura was saying about taking care of the vessel. So understand the basics. It's easy to let those things slide when there's chaos, but actually it's the time to make the most focus on them, because that will give you that safety in your body, that solidity. So yeah, I'm very active on Instagram. That's my main thing. It's Amelia Happiness Guru. And I have a website called howtobehappy.com, spelt with just a B, howtobehappy.com. And anyone who's interested to speak with me can actually just book a free call. You just go on the Instagram and click the link in the bio. Thank you so much, Kerry. This has been amazing. And it's been such a pleasure to meet Dr. Sharnael as well. I feel like our guides know each other, so I would love to get to know you more.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And Sharnael, what would you have to say now?
Yes, also thank you, Amelia and Kerry, for doing this. And obviously everybody here, I just absolutely adore, and I'm so grateful for, and I mean grateful. I feel full of greatness just being around you. I can feel your energy and your love. My words would be seek truth, walk in truth, be truth, love well, hug your family. And, you know, when things get super weird, I think we can get caught up in our head. We can go in fight or flight. It affects the nervous system, and it definitely affects the immunity and all of that. So just, I'm telling you, there's a guy named Robert Tennyson Stevenson, and he always says, go do something fun for no reason. Play, do something fun, go out and do something like color, you know, go skip instead of walk, like do something, break the pattern, do something crazy, you know, go to the ocean, you know, Laura's in Montana. And I mean, there's lots of things to get into nature, get your socks off and your feet in the grass, in the dirt, you know, get in the sun if you can, get some vitamin D, drink lots of water, get some rest, like these guys are saying. But if we're not doing all this for ourselves, that energy is just going to get depleted, because there's so many sources out there that are pulling and trying to manipulate the energy and the biofields, and it can be draining and suck. Or, you know, we can radiate out, but radiating out instead of being a sponge and sucking everything and just taking it all on and getting heavier and heavier. Or we can just, you know, nope, there's a science to this, you know, is what we're thinking about, what we're talking about, what we're feeling. So we got to take a major commitment to really think about what we're thinking about, and really think about what we're about to say, and be conscious of our words, and be conscious of our thoughts, be conscious of what we're putting our eye gates on and what our ear gates, who we're hanging around with, because all of that is very catchable. It's transferable. And so be aware, you know, they say if you don't know someone, then ask the 5 people they hang around with, because there's energy that's extremely contagious. And so be careful who you're hanging out with, what you're listening to, you know, what you're doing. But I would say really, really have courage. You guys are stronger than you think you are. This stuff is going on. I'm not speaking to the panel. I'm speaking to everybody who's listening. Champions are not born in the ring. They are made there. And this is your opportunity to stand and to research, to look deep inside of yourself and really, really remember. I like what Laura was saying, remember, that word, remember. My book is called The Science of Miracles, and the underscore is remembering the frequency of love. I love the word remember, because it means what Sean was talking about, is getting back to source inside, to integrate, to remember, to be one with God again. And as much as we can do, I mean, even if it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, whatever we need to do to just stay in love, because you cannot lose love if you are already love. You cannot lose truth if you are truth. You cannot lose wealth if you are wealth. And as we just remember who our DNA is and what we're all about and how we were created to do crazy, amazing things, bilocate and transport and remote healing and sending love far away. And we can do so many, we have the technology to resurrect in our DNA. We can do all of these things. So it's just remembering and maybe taking a step back and every now and then and just going, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And not try to go so far in the future and worry about all the different timelines of, well, if this happens, I got to do the B, C, G, E, F, G, Z. It's like, let's just be present and let's just like kumbaya focus and remember and get that integration and have the courage to have grace for other people who are where they're at, love people well. And, you know, it's so easy, oh my God, especially with social media, to see things in the feed and to just be like, oh my God. And you just want to like, help me, you know, help me help you. But, you know, I have to remember that if I get into judgment or anger or bitterness or arguing or anything, trying to be right or prove anyone or force someone, then I am no better. And I am getting into that. I'm getting baited into this, you know, being submitted into that. And instead it's like, dude, you know, cool, awesome, you know, and just scroll on by, and if it's on my page, I'm going to have some spiritual hygiene. I'm going to make sure people don't get crazy, because I don't want that on my feed and I want that on my page. But it's so tempting sometimes to just go over to someone else and be like, well, but what about this? And just keep yourself clear and pure and focus on those things. Do something fun for no reason. Do something fun for no reason. Sing a song, play the piano, go out and skip, I don't know, do something, laugh, have joy, remember your joy, remember your truth. And again, I cannot stress this enough, personal responsibility to participate on some level. Do not sleep on the job. Like Carrie said, this is not a time to just be like, oh, I really hope that Trump does something. What is your version of what you're supposed to do? Do that. And really, really do that. Whether it's making a post or sharing or just loving well or having grace for someone, standing up for yourself, putting the mask down or doing whatever your version is to be bold and courageous, because you are stronger. You are stronger than you really think you are. And fear is an illusion. It's ridiculous. Don't even look towards it. Whatever you focus on, you make room for. So focus on the light, focus on the love, focus on anything that's positive, that's going to bring you energy and support to your body, physically and mentally. And you guys all got this. And as far as connecting with me, I'm at swiftfire.org. It's swift as in quickfire.org. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the stuff. But if you go to swiftfire.org, please go there. And because like Laura said, I'm in Facebook jail, cancel clear. I've had that in the past. And I just want to make sure that I could find you wherever we are and still connect, because I'm learning so much. And I love stuff like this. I appreciate stuff like this. My background is conference speaking, so I'm used to like seeing people in real life and being able to hug them and like see their faces. So I love when people like watch something like this and they go in my inbox and they're like, hey, I saw you on whatever, and I get to like see your eyes and your face and your family pictures and send you love. So I like that personal stuff. I like the big stuff, but if there's anything that resonates, please do connect with me and just go like, hi, I saw you or whatever, and I will send you love. All right. And thank you, Kerry. You're a freaking goddess. All you guys are goddesses. And I mean, I cry. I'm going to cry. I don't know what I would do without you guys. I really don't. But, and it's just when you speak up and you guys are doing your thing, it gives all of us courage to do what we're doing. And I just thank you for helping me, all of you, to remember my courage and to stand up for the things that I know what I need to do in my time. And I just love all of you so much, and I just appreciate you so much. Thank you.
We're here.
Okay.
Love you.
Thank you. Okay, lovely. And really appreciate everybody. If you go to my website and you look at this particular video, then down below are links. Everyone sent me a short bio, and so you'll find links there if you just go to projectcamelot.org, projectcamelotportal.com, or projectcamelot.tv. They all go to the same place. And if you can't find my latest work, if you think I'm being quiet, it's because actually I'm banned now from LinkedIn and I can't get back to those people. I can't reach them. They think I disappeared off the face of the earth. And like other people are writing to me saying, oh, you haven't done anything for 2 weeks. Actually, I have. I'm working really hard. And so I want people to be able to find me. So please understand these social platforms are coming and going. And I never would know when I'm going to say something that somebody in a social, media platform hates and decides to, attack me and give me a strike. And my channel could just disappear overnight. I've got 2 strikes and the last one, so this is on that, main channel. So I don't think we said anything that's going to, rub somebody the wrong way or whatever the H, but, so I think that this will stay on there. I mean, it's my hope. So just want to say, I do controversial interviews with very movers and shakers, and I'm very proud of that. And if it's not on this channel, if you think I did something, you're not subscribing to my Facebook, et cetera, just know that I am always active. If you go to my website, you'll always be able to find my latest stuff. So thank you again, everyone, goddesses all, and thank you for being here today. And I think it's been really lovely to sort of share our brain trust, if you will, and I hope that we can move through the ages with grace and courage. So thank you again, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you all.
Love you guys.
Okay, so you can go ahead and exit. I have to run a credit, so don't worry about that. That's just something I have to do. So just feel free to exit. Thank you, everyone.